I'm here with John of Blackbraid to talk about the new record, Blackbraid 2, out July 7th, released independently, which I'm shocked that labels didn't make it rain on you, considering how good this album is. So thank you very much for taking the time, first of all, and joining me for this chat. How's things going?
Oh, absolutely. Things are great. I mean, yeah, we're doing it independent, so I'm packing my butt off right now, with the pre-orders and everything, but that's how I wanted it. So yeah, I'm happy.
Before we talk about the record, let me ask you about the tour because I saw you in Toronto playing with Dark Funeral. So, how was the overall experience for you to be on that massive tour with Cattle Decapitation as well and 200 Stab Wounds?
Yeah, that was pretty nuts. I mean, it was our first tour. We played 3 shows before that, so we were pretty brand new. I guess we still are, like we had hasn't even been a year since we started playing shows, so um yeah, it was crazy for like I never dreamed in 100 years, that that would be our first tour. So I really can't like speak more highly of it. Like all those guys were awesome. It was like a perfect first tour. Like we loved every band on there, got along pretty great. And um obviously Dark Funeral's like legendary to us because they're like one of the OG black metal legends that are still around, so I knew we'd take that tour the second that I saw Dark Funeral's name on the offer because I'm like, we got to say yes to this one. So um yeah, I mean, it was surreal. It was great. It was just I can't really have asked for a better first tour. There's nothing I would have changed about it, to be honest. Like it was awesome.
I saw you after the show in the bus area. I was talking to the guys from Cattle Decapitation and Dark Funeral, and you passed by and we said hi to each other. And you looked like you were like running 100 miles an hour. Like your brain couldn't catch up with everything that was happening around you because there's so much stuff going on and your first biggest tour. Have you had a chance to look back and perhaps take some learning lessons from this experience of being on the road with these bands?
Yeah, I mean, it's I guess like the biggest thing with that is really just like the amount of work we're doing. Like when you're small like us, like we were like moving nonstop most nights because like uh we're like loading and unloading our own gear and doing the same with all the merch and um doing our own sound checks and everything else. So there's always like it feels like there's constantly shit going on and you never really get a chance to breathe. And then then you got to drive later. So like we just tour in a van. We don't have like a nightline or anything, so like we don't have a driver either. So like we're get 4 or 5 hours or some shit. So it's pure chaos when you're a small band and you're touring, but um yeah, I think we definitely learned learned some stuff. It'll be like more prepared next time we get out there, but it was awesome either way. Yeah.
Either way, you guys had a great time. I know you guys had some problems with the van and everything like that, but you know those are the little bumps in the road that come with every tour. It's like if you don't have those experiences, you're not touring. That's how life goes. So let's talk about Blackberry 2. How much did the debut record help shape the follow-up album, or you look at them completely different from one to the next?
No, I actually think they're pretty much the same, honestly. Like I guess yeah, to answer your question, it's like they are deeply intertwined. And that's why I kind of did them so fast. Like I don't usually write that fast. Like my third album, it'll be a long time before I do something else, Like these two I kind of in my head were like meant to be together and they were like two parts of the same thing and that's why I released them so close together is because I was kind of like writing them at the same time too. And like 2 or 3 of the songs were already almost like fully formed for the second album by the time the first one came out. And I like Moss, the first single we did, like that was actually like recorded, I think, by the time the second album came out
Okay.
already. And maybe like one of the other singles have been recorded too. I can't remember, but yeah, in my mind, they've always kind of been like almost like a part one and a part two of the same album, which is why I wanted to really release them like within a year of each other. And they have very similar themes and sound, and Um, in my head, they've always like really kind of gone together, I guess.
When you look at the sound of the band, and let me tell you this, I don't know what happened at other venues, but in Toronto, everybody was talking about you guys. I know for me, you guys were like the band that just blew me away on the night because I had never heard of you guys. Well, I had heard of you guys, but I've never seen you guys live. And for you guys to come on stage and pull out the performance that you did, everybody's jaw was dropping. Everybody was talking about you guys and the sound and the experience and everything you put forward. So when you look at the sound and experience of Blackbraid, is there one single element that you see as the main catalyst of that sound and experience?
I don't know. Not really. I mean, it's really hard to pinpoint like, um, yeah, like a lot of people, everywhere on the tour, people were amazing and like people loved us. Really positive crowd, like everywhere we went, it was like humbling, it was awesome. But at the same time, like, I don't know, I don't really think of it like that because it's not like we're like, we don't really like ever meet up or talk to each other and be like, we're gonna do this on stage tonight and it's gonna be like this and like we kind of always just go out there and play and there's not really like there's no choreography or like a set. Like we pretty much are like we're gonna play the songs in this order and that's it. And we don't ever really have a plan, and shit goes wrong all the time, but people still love it. So I guess it's working. But yeah, I think maybe I like all I can think of is really I tried to be pretty genuine and kind of write these songs that were important to me, like from my heart, and it just is. I think that translates on stage. Like it's really easy for us to play them and like be into it, like without thinking about it. Like there's not really no a performance aspect, I don't feel like we're performing. It's almost like we're practicing or something every night. Like we're usually just up there having fun.
I feel like the sound is very organic, is very you, and I think that's something super fresh to the whole genre of black metal because it doesn't feel fabricated. It doesn't feel like somebody thought of a concept, created an idea, and then tried to execute it. When I was listening to the album, I got that same feel. It's a record that it allows you to travel through it. It really is a journey from the first song to the last song. When you're creating the music, do you think of how you can connect these songs because they are different from one another? The album is not repetitive at all. Do you think that they have to be connected, or does that organic way of you approaching music in a natural format just kind of lends itself to doing that for you without you having to actually force it into the songs?
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I obviously, I want the album's meant to be listened to like that, and I try to make it like a story and like cohesive and it should be listened to like in order or whatever. But at the same time, like when I'm writing the songs, I don't really think about that at all. Like at least for like the second album here, like I had like a very rough idea of what I wanted when I started it. Like um I kind of saw as it was writing the songs, the album like um kind of like dividing itself into like three parts almost.
Mhm.
Um and then that's when I decided to like write the interludes, the acoustic tracks I have on there, which kind of like serve as like an introduction to each part of the album, and then I kind of just let the songs fall into place. But it's different every time, but um yeah, I always want them to, I wouldn't put out an album unless I felt like it was finished and it was like cohesive and kind of like told a story like that because it's like what I want from my music. But at the same time, like I don't really I try not to overthink it when I'm writing the actual songs and I kind of let it work itself out.
It's mentioned that it's funny that you mentioned the three interludes because that was going to be my next question. I thought they were very important in the design of the record because they also gave me a chance to kind of catch my breath and feel like there was an intermission. Something that, for example, when I was growing up going to the movies, they would cut the movie in half and they would have a break for people to go buy popcorn and then come back and watch the second half of the movie. And if the movie was really long, they would cut it in three parts. Obviously, it doesn't happen anymore, but the album kind of felt to me like an old school movie experience where you have these interludes that break the album. Without the interludes, does the record fall flat? Like, do those songs have a lot of importance beyond what perhaps a regular listener can pick up?
Yeah, yeah, I would say so. I mean, I kind of see them as like half of the whole band, you know, like it's like a pretty big contrast. Like I do, you know, I want there to be like these really kind of like raw acoustic moments and you know, super quiet, super somber stuff on there, and then also have, you know, like the punishing black metal. But I don't think it would be the same at all if I took one of them out. Like uh I spend a lot of time on the acoustic tracks. Some of them I even spend more time on than
Wow.
like the you know, the electric, like the black metal ones, but it all kind of just mixes together in the end, I guess. Like a lot of the acoustic tracks too start as parts of the metal songs, and I separate them and make them their own things, you know. Like if you listen to like the Spells of Moon and Earth is the same chords as Moss, and it comes right before it on the album. And like I did that on the last album too with The Creek Flows Softly By is like right before Sacandaga, and they use the same exact chords too. So they were originally like the same song, and it was like 10, 12 minutes long, and then I like decided to break them into two. So
You know, if you, the only thing I thought you missed the mark on this record was that fire, the sound of the fire burning as the album starts,
oh yeah, yeah.
with the first acoustic song, and then you brought that again at the end of that first song. And I thought it would be really cool if that was brought back at the end of the record. So it would have given that sense of sitting by the fireplace, being told the story, and then at the end of the record, the fire is out and it's like, you know, the story is finished. That to me was the only thing on this album that I was like, I wish he had done that because it would have been super cool if he had done that. But outside of that,
Yeah.
it's a really incredible experience to go through this album, and an experience that's almost double in length compared to the first record. Uh, what happened here? How do you go from around like 30 something minutes to over an hour?
Man, no, that's badass actually. Like I wish when you were saying that, I was like, I wish I had thought of that too, because that would have been that would have been really fucking cool. But next time, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, that would have been sweet. But yeah, with the length, like I kind of I always knew I wanted to do a super long one second. Like I said, like Moss was already done, and that's like a 13-minute song when I did the first one, and I almost put it on that record, but I was thinking like it just belongs on the second one, and like it's gonna be a better as a part of the second one. So um I did like have some stuff written, maybe like two and a half, three songs started for this, like when I wrote the first album. And like I made a conscious decision to be like I really want to like make the first one kind of an introduction and shorter, and like um I decided to leave those songs off there and put them on the second one because I always in my mind the second one was going to be like bigger and better. And I was like, if I'm going to make a better record, it's got to be way longer. So I was almost like at the end there, like saving some riffs and stuff from the first album and like making sure to hold off with them till the second album. Because I just to make it, you know, longer. And I also knew I didn't really want to do anything for a while, like take a little break from writing after the second album. So I wanted to make it extra long, so it would like kind of hold people over too for a bit, I guess.
You're not just only a great musician, you're a great storyteller, and I feel like this record really brings that part of you of the storyteller, specifically of how you sing and how you use the lyrics and how you integrate the lyrics in the way that you sing, and then how everything comes together with the sound behind it. Where how do you work on that lyrical content? Like, how do you draw that inspiration and how do you approach it?
Man, I there's not really like a set way. It's pretty hard for me. Like lyrics are always the hardest part of writing, I think. Um and I take the longest too to write them, you know. Um I usually just kind of start with like a base of like what I want for a song, and I'll write like 10 or 20 like real basic lines maybe of like what I want the song to be about. and then I kind of just like build on them forever. And you know, when I start out, I'll have like real basic stuff that I know I don't want to keep, but just kind of like I write my feelings down and like what I want the verses to be about and the chorus and stuff. And I'll kind of just listen to it. Sometimes it'll take me like 2 or 3 months to write the songs, write the lyrics to a song after the instrumental's done, and like I'll kind of just listen to it over and over again and try to figure out like how I want the lyrics to come out in the end, I guess, until I've got writing that I'm happy with. Or sometimes it's the other way around. Like sometimes I'll write something just like poetry, like before the song even exists, you know, and I'll be like, I know this has to be a song now, and then I'll write like a bridge to go with it or something, you know. But usually it's the other way around. Usually I finish the instrumentals like way early on, and I'm like chipping away at the lyrics for like 2 or 3 months.
It's your Achilles issue there. Like it's your kryptonite, if you will. Uh,
Yeah.
I mentioned online how good this album is and how impressive this album is. And the first question a dude asked me was, "How was the battery cover?" I mean, it didn't ask me how was any of the other songs. It was like, "How was the battery cover?" I think it's phenomenal because it gives the vibe of the original, but it still feels new, and it also matches the vibe of the record. But why this song? Why A Fine Day to Die by Bathory to be included on this album?
Um, like you said, I kind of just felt like it fit really well. And I love it. You know, I've been thinking of doing a cover for a long time. There's other covers that I almost did or thought about, and like there was actually another song on there for the 10th track that I like didn't feel was really belonging there or whatever, and I was like half rewriting it, half working on a different song for it, and like during that time I was like listening to Bathory or something like while I was like running or something. I can't even remember. Um, but you know, I listen to black metal all the time, so I've listened to Bathory many times. But I don't know, I was listening to that song and I was just like, this would be a perfect Blackbraid song, and I just it just felt like I felt like it fit so well with everything else I was doing on the record. And you know, I was looking at the song that I had for my 10th track, the one that I wrote, and I was like, I can always put this on a different album, you know, or save it, do something else with it. But like the Bathory song just fits so much better here than this one did, and it also like is fucking Bathory, you know, like if I'm gonna cover someone, there's not really anyone like better to do than that, I think. Like, um, there's a lot of times with covers, it's like you don't want to go too new or too old or like anything, but like but it doesn't really get anyone like more iconic than Bathory. And you can't really go wrong like as a black metal artist with like covering a Bathory song. So um, in that song especially, I love that song. I've listened to it 1,000 times, you know. So it's like very familiar to me already. It took me like nothing to throw together the cover. Like I already pretty much had an idea of what I wanted to do when I decided to cover it. So yeah, it kind of just fell into place, honestly.
When it comes to black metal, I don't know if you feel this way about it, but I feel like a lot of people inside of the genre and a lot of people that don't listen to black metal have a very narrow vision of what black metal is. They always associate black metal with Satanism and all of these things, and it creates a very narrow vision that then impacts the perception of the sound and the perception of what the genre is all about. I feel like what you're doing is opening the doors to a much wider version of what black metal can be. Do you see yourself setting a new standard, if you will, that black metal doesn't have to have this narrow path and this narrow vision that people are expected to be all the time?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, a lot of people have said that to me. It's impossible to like deny, but at the same time, I never really like that wasn't my goal starting out, but it's pretty cool that people have like latched on to Blackbraid so much, and like you know, obviously we're not the first ones out there to make music like black metal that's like, you know, based in nature and stuff. But I think for some reason we kind of just like everyone is gravitating towards us, and we're doing it really well and really successfully. But at the same time, like I like grew up on satanic black metal, so like I love that shit. Like we were just on the road with Dark Funeral for a month, so um like I think it's cool that it's like changing perception so much and like making such an impact, but at the same time, like I still love like old school, like super gory satanic black metal. So like it's kind of like the best of both worlds for me, because like um I don't really care. It could go either way, and I'd be happy because, like I love Gorgoroth and shit like that. So, it's pretty cool, but I definitely never really saw that happening. I kind of just wanted to, I guess, yeah, like make something a little different and unique. But I never thought it would latch on nearly as much as it has, I guess.
So let me ask you this: Are you a perfectionist? Because obviously the band, you are the band to a certain extent, and it feels like you're very in keen with what you want and what you want the band to be. So does that make you a perfectionist?
Um, I think I'm definitely a perfectionist on the album. Like, I go back and forth on a lot of the songs, and um, it's kind of like Uh, at times I'm very perfectionist. It's mostly just in the recording. Like when we play live, we are pretty raw and we don't use like a click or backtracks or anything, and we kind of just wing it when we play raw. And I've always liked it like that because everyone's more into it, like um, I mean like us, like the band, even like it feels better when you're not playing to a click and you're kind of just like hanging out with each other and like so I think live I'm not a perfectionist at all, but yeah, on the album. Um, when it comes to recording and stuff, I really, especially the instruments, I'd say the instruments I'm crazy a perfectionist with, like the drums and the guitar and stuff. I want to always be perfect. With the vocals, I let them go a little bit more. Like a lot of the vocals, um, I just don't let myself think about them. Like I will only let myself do one take on a lot of stuff. Because I don't want to fall into that rabbit hole of just like doing vocals for like 10 days straight or whatever. So, with the vocals, I like force myself to let a lot of stuff go, but when it comes to the instruments, I'm definitely like highly perfectionist.
Well, John, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Great record. Blackbraid 2 is a phenomenal journey. Just missing that fire at the end. Outside of that, outside of that, I thought the album was perfect. I thought the album was perfect. It's a phenomenal journey, a phenomenal ride. I wish you nothing but success, and I hope to see you back again in Toronto soon on another tour run because you guys are phenomenal, 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 phenomenal.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, we'll be back real soon. I'm pretty sure we're gonna hit Toronto before the end of this year. So
Oh,
we still got a bunch of shit going on this year that we haven't announced yet. So
I'll be hitting your merch stand to help you guys out with some money so that in case your transmission blows again, you have some funds. So thank you very much for your time, man. I really appreciate it. You guys are the best.
awesome. Thank you.
Take care, man. Bye.
All right. See ya.